One of the things I love about creating content on YouTube, especially about tech, is that I get to indulge in my little love of all things tech. And every so often, I get to try something out that genuinely just sort of blows my mind. And that's the case with what I'm going to talk about today. It's a 25-inch portable folding monitor, but the way that it works is just unlike anything I've seen before. It won an Innovation Award at CES just earlier on this year, and a number of other awards along the way as well. It had a Kickstarter campaign that it ran starting, I guess, a couple of years ago, and the target was about $10,000, I think, and they blew that completely out of the water, raising 300 and something odd thousand dollars. So it's really quite an amazing product. So let me just get straight in to show you this and show you how it works, because it has to be seen to be believed. So here I've got my old 15-inch MacBook, just for context, and this is the size of this thing. It's in this nice little case, so it easily just fits in a backpack. But the way that it works is like this. So I'm just going to open up the case, and in fact, maybe I should just leave this in this top-down shot for you to see what it looks like when you open it up. I'm going to undo the zip. So there, we've got this thing in here that looks something like this. And then you just take it out of the case, and as you take it out, it magically folds up just like that to the size of, as I say, a 25-inch monitor. Now, the way that this actually works is this in the back here is a projector. So it actually also doubles as a projector, because as you'll see later, we can actually take this entire thing off the front, and then you've just got this little portable projector. It's got a 1/4 20-inch socket in the back, so or screw thread, I should say, in the bottom, so you can mount it to a tripod. It does come with a desktop size tripod, so if you want to put it on your desk, you can do that. It also comes with a little stand built in, and it will just sort of support itself. But when you turn it on, and by the way, it's got a battery in it as well, so it's got a battery life of 4 hours. When you turn it on, then what's going to happen is the projector is going to kick in on the back, and there you've got your screen. Obviously comes with an HDMI cable, so if I just plug this HDMI cable into the back, then what you can see is that is the screen of my other Mac that I've just got plugged into it. It's a projector, so there's got a focus puller on it, obviously, so you can adjust that for if you're projecting onto the wall or into the screen. But that is the way that it operates. So let me just show you a bit more of the actual setup process, or the way that the mechanism works, because it's pretty ingenious. And as a designer, in a previous former life as an engineer, I do really like the way that this is working, unlike my Stream Deck, which is not working. Let me just figure out what's gone on there. I'll just go to my top-down shot. That's funny. That doesn't normally happen. I've got my little spinning beach ball for some reason going on. So I think there we go. We're back to normal. So let me just show you again the sort of mechanism. It's basically this thing here is spring-loaded. So there's little arms inside here which sort of fold out. Now Stream Deck is remembering all those button presses. And then inside here, there are these little arms that sort of fold back. And so when you want to put it away, assuming you've switched it off, would help, Alec. There we go. So I'm switching it off. To put it away, you're just basically folding these little arms that are inside away like that. And then you can just drop it into the case. And it's got these little sort of edges here to sort of protect the material as you put it in and fold it away like that. So let's take another look then at the actual mechanism, because it's one of those things that the novelty factor when you take it out and it just kind of springs open like that, and then it's got this thing that just by the sort of tension in it, you can feel it sort of reaching a point there, and then when you just give it a push, it just sort of clips into place. And as I say, that's now just all set up. So in terms of the specs, let's just take a look at some of those, because they're pretty intriguing themselves. And yes, my Stream Deck's definitely having a bit of a slow day today for some reason. Not quite sure if that is Stream Deck or if that's something else, but there you go. So here is the display on Amazon. So it's $1,300. And the use case for this, obviously, is not if you are using this in your studio, as I'm doing necessarily. It's going to be more for things like conferences. If you are doing client work or things like that. Imagine if you want to have your computer set up, and then you want to have your notes for your presentation down at the front of the stage or something like that, then going to be ideal for that. Showing, as I say, client work where you're going into somebody's office or something, and you want to show a presentation up on your screen, something like that as well. Of course, being a rear projector, it is a 1080p screen, but the 1920 by 1080. But of course, the resolution of it, you're not going to be doing any high-level graphic design work or anything like that on it, because of just the the nature of it. We like high-quality screens for that. But for things like presentations, events, conferences, and things like that, it's really going to be quite a useful thing to have. Just to show you a couple of the things. I've got something weird going on with my mouse today. It seems to be really slow. I'm not quite sure what's going on. This was when it was at CES, and there was this guy tweeted out about it, and 19 million tweets. So I've got a lot of sort of coverage from that. This is the original Kickstarter. The Kickstarter's closed, but this is just to show that, yeah, there was a $10,000 goal and 500 backers. They just sort of blew that goal out of the water. But if we go over to the tech specs, and this sort of shows you it in a sort of size comparison to a laptop, then the resolution here, 1920 by 1080, 24.5-inch screen, up to 80-inch diagonal in projector mode. So I'll show you projector mode in a moment and how you sort of transfer, how you take off the front of it. Battery life, 4 hours on minimum brightness, 1.5 on max. And this is on about 50% at the moment, by the way, the brightness of it. Weight, 1.1 kilos. It does have speakers built in. One of the use cases they show it for is portable gaming and movies, like if you're in a hotel or something like that. I'm not sure that the audio quality is going to be the absolute best on it, but nevertheless, it has got built-in speakers. And then this is the size of it when it's all expanded out. So that is the sort of tech specs of it. Let's just see if there's anything of interest in this as well. So use cases, trade shows, presentations, videos, gaming, mobile productivity, and so on. So certainly I have used this in the past week when I was doing some stuff in the house and just wanted a monitor out of the studio. So it certainly does work for that. And it's so portable and easy to set up that, yeah, it is pretty easy to use for that. As I say, it does come with a desktop style stand, so a little stand like this, a little tripod to give you a bit of extra height, and you can adjust the angle of it. But the thing about it is, because all of the weight is in here, although you've got this 25-inch, 24.5-inch screen, because it's got this 1/4-20-inch socket on the bottom, you could be using something like this. So this is the Ulanzi MT26, which is a really tall, actually light stand, expandable tripod. And if I just screw it on, it's probably easy if I wasn't sitting down to do this, but there you go. I'll just screw that onto there. You can see that even with just a lightweight stand, it does just, hold the weight, because as I say, all of the weight really is just pushing down from here. So you can easily just put that in there, adjust the angle of it, and then set it up like that. So let me just turn it on. On terms of the connectivity and controls at the back, you've got an HDMI socket. I like that they give you the HDMI cable, but they also give you one of these sort of 90-degree turns, so that if you don't want the cable coming straight out the back, then they've got one of these 90-degree turns, so it makes it more convenient for the cable coming out. Comes with a power brick, obviously. It's powered over USB-C, but there is a battery inside. So as I mentioned about the battery life there, 4.5 or whatever it was on low power, and an hour and a half on high power. But there's a socket here, USB-C, and as I say, it comes with the power brick for that. There's also another USB-A output here, so if you've got the power going in, you can also power another device from that, sort of hanging off the back. If you have got an external power brick, though, you could use that to give it additional battery life. On the top, then, you've got the power button there, and there is a light indicator that comes on when you switch it on. That's going to show you what the battery level is, so you can see that just sort of flashing there. That's showing you the battery level. Then you've got the volume plus and minus for the built-in speakers, and then you've also got brightness plus and minus with these two buttons. And then this one here is to flip the image, because when it's in rear projector mode, what you're going to want to have is it showing the image. But when you are projecting onto the wall, you need to reverse the image, because it's projecting onto the wall, not from the back. So that's what that button is there. That is a little button to rotate the image around when you're using it in projector mode. And then there's the slider here, which is a physical slider, and that's basically the focus puller. So as you are looking at it, you will just need to go in. As you can see, that's all blurred there. But as I move that slider, I can just sort of pull it into focus and back out the other side. So you just need to get that right like that. Let's take a quick look, though, at the way that you sort of convert it into the projector mode. So I'll just switch it off for a second, so I'm not blinding everyone with the light as I do this. And unscrew this. And so what I'll do is I'll just release this again to pop it down. There is then a zip on here, so this is how you sort of get into the inside of it. Maybe I'll do this in this view. Ecamm and Stream Deck really being slow today. Wonder what I'm doing differently. So then there's a little Velcro strap here that allows you to sort of get in. You can then see the mechanism inside. So this is kind of, these are like the arms inside of it. And this is probably the one thing that I'll say is slightly fiddly about it, which is that you've got this little catch here and you release that. And there's essentially a cable that's going all the way around it that holds these little arms into these little sockets on here. And if I just unclip all of those, then the mechanism here just sort of comes out. So now you're left with this, which is the actual projector itself. Where's my camera gone? There we go. That is just the projector on its own. And you can see there it's got the little handle. That's the little stand that sort of pops up when you're using it in desktop mode. So like you've got it standing on a desk. That's just to give you a bit of a better angle at it. And then, yeah, that's the size of the projector. So if I just go back to this view for a second, and what we'll do is I'll just put that back on here and we'll see what the size of it is on the back wall. So if I switch that back on again. And then now, because I'm going to be projecting it right up there on the back wall, you can see how it's, well, maybe you can't. Probably what I should have done is switch my, switch my lights off on that back wall. Just let me switch over to this other mic. How about that? So now I'm on my wireless mic. Okay, I am at the limit of my my cable, my HDMI cable. The thing about that, though, is you can actually see how, although that's really pretty close to the wall there, I'm only like, I guess, 3 foot, less than 3 foot away from the wall, but it's really ultra wide. I mean, it's completely taking up that entire wall. I don't know exactly how many sort of inches that would relate to, but it doesn't need to be so far away that it's going to produce a sort of narrow beam. It's got a really wide thing on it. So I guess I could move that another 2 foot. So it'd effectively be about, I don't know, 3 foot, 2 foot away from the wall, and it would completely fill up that space there. So yeah, the idea of being able to have this as a projector as well is a pretty cool feature. But let me just show you what I was talking about with it being slightly fiddly to actually get the thing on after the fact, because now we've got this here. So the process you have to go through with that, if I just switch it off one more time. Don't technically have to switch it off, but just save me shining this in everyone's eyes. So to get this back in, and let me switch back over to this mic. To get this back in, you've kind of got these little little grooves here that the arms fit into. So there's that little gap there for the arm to fit on either side. But that little loose cable that I was talking about, that basically goes in these other slots which run all the way around it. So the way that it fits in is we have to do this. This is the part that is a little bit fiddly. We've got to basically get these things in, if I'm showing the right thing, all the way around. Like that. Yeah, this one in. I mean, this is something that you're likely not going to be doing. Oh, first of all, let me not forget one step. You actually have to put the thing in, in that part there. As I say, this is something that you're probably not going to be necessarily doing all the time. As I try and put that in. I tell you what I'm doing. I'm putting it the wrong way around. That's why it wouldn't just slot in. So yes, there is as well this little slot here, and that has to line up with this little slot there. So that was me putting it in the wrong way. Apologies about that. But now that we've slid it in, we just have to get these arms sort of lined up with these things here and pop it in. That's one. That's the second one. The third one. And then the fourth one. And it's just a case of making sure that this cable is indeed going around and is in the slot all the way around. And then you just clip this in like that. And if it's not clipping in, it means one of those is not in. So this is the, see that one has just dropped out there. That's why it wasn't working. So this part is admittedly a little bit fiddly. So there we go. That's now all in. And so then now we put this over the top like that. There is this Velcro strap that goes around here to sort of hold it all in place at that end at the top. Whoops. And then making sure we've got all those little arms in. Always with this zip as well, make sure that you're never catching the screen, obviously, the rubberized screen. And then we zip that up like that. And then now it's ready to just pop up just as we did before. So that is the Splay. And let me just show you again the packing up. It's just as simple as popping that down like that. You then fold these arms in like this. And then you drop that into the case. Again, just watching when you zip it up, especially at this front end, that there's nothing hanging out. But it packs up. And I also like the fact that the handle that's built in there, when it is closed up, what they've done is they've just put a little flap, excuse me, that opens up on the box. And so that handle in the device actually also is then a handle in here. So you can just easily sort of grab it and pull it out of your bag. So with that said, let me just go through and check in on some of the chat. I've set up a nice little scene for chat this time. Rich, great to see you, obviously, just having our chat beforehand. Wondering if you should upgrade from your two 17-inch portables. The gas is real. Hey, Wayne, great to see you. Hey, David, how are you doing? It's the price of it is obviously it's costly. It's just a case of if you've got the need for it, I suppose, as with all of these things. First of all, Dan. So Dan is the person that told me about this. Dan's in the Take One Tech, the Digital Stage Academy, as it's called now. And it was Dan that alerted me to this. Dan was one of the early backers of it on Kickstarter. On the Kickstarters. There you go. Oh, that's exactly what he's just saying there. He was one of the first 50 to sign up. Indeed, he would have got a great deal from that Keeley. Kickstarter is a bit like that. You never know quite what's going to come of it. But this certainly was one of the success stories. As I say, it did win, what was it, Innovation of the Year or something like that at CES this year. I should be reading them up here instead of reading them down there, shouldn't I, really? Dan's got a great use case for it as well, because he does actually bowls coaching, and so is doing events at different places. So taking it on the road for presentations and things like that. So using it for its intended purpose, unlike me at the moment, using it in my studio and actually in my kitchen the other day. Great to see you. So the cost, in case you missed that one earlier, is in US dollars, is $1,300. It's on the Splay website as well. I've linked to the Splay website, but for me, because I'm in Thailand, it shows me the Thai price there. Just to show you what's in the box as well, I mentioned that it does come with that tripod. I also like that they include a USB-C to HDMI adapter as well. So if you're using an iPad, then you can also plug that into it as well. That was just a nice little touch. They don't often include that. And these things as well. I've got loads of these in my little box of accessories that I have down here. Check that guy out, Rich. But this is where I have like all the different connectors and things like that that you might need for camera gear and streaming. So I always have a load of those different HDMI adapters, sort of going through various different angles and different other types of connectors with those angles on as well. But it was really nice that because that they included that in the box, because most people don't have those sorts of things just to hand. So it is something that's really good when you've got things like projectors and things like that, and the HDMI lead is often coming out at a really awkward angle. So for them to include that was just, I thought, very good, nice little touch. So yeah, that's the price of it. It's $1,300 in US dollars. By the way, if you are in Thailand like I am, or indeed other Southeast Asian countries, and we don't have Amazon here, they do free shipping to Amazon, from Amazon to Thailand, unbelievably. And there's a minimum of like $30 spend, but basically if you spend over $30, there is free shipping to Thailand. You will still have to pay import duty, so there's import duty on this, in this case, of $100, but that's not always the case with things that you buy. But yeah, I had a conversation with someone just the other day who was talking about, oh, isn't it difficult to get things over here? And they were looking to buy something. And I said, well, Amazon do free delivery to Thailand. It's kind of amazing. It's kind of handy. So there we go. Oh, thanks, Rich, for dropping the link in. Hey, Mark, great to see you. Thanks for jumping in. This is always what happens. I read comments and go through one after the other, and then realize that all the other lovely people have gone through and answered the questions. Thanks, Mark. I'm glad you like the this format. I've changed up all my scenes, as you might have noticed. I had a bit of a day of spring cleaning, getting out loads of scenes that I wasn't using and just updating. I've finally finished, by the way, for those that are waiting, my Ecamm Live Masterclass. It will be available as of later on today after I've finished this. I've just got to set up a couple of email automations, and then it'll be going out to everyone who pre-registered and signed up. Hey, Bill, great to see you here as well. It really is a bit of clever engineering indeed, and that's the thing that I mean, it's one of these products that when you get it, it just does have that sort of wow factor of just using it and thinking like, what a genius idea to have a monitor. I mean, I could have this and my laptop and my Peak Design tech pouch, and they literally are the same footprint as the laptop. So just having all of that stuffed in a bag is pretty good for presenting or whatever. I'm going to be doing a presentation at running one of the workshops, in fact, at Ecamm Creator Camp later this year. So I'll definitely take that with me, because one of the things we had last year in the when I ran the session was we'd got a big projector on the back screen, but we also wanted a laptop and another monitor to look at the Ecamm controls and stuff like that. So I'll definitely take that with me, because yeah, it just is pretty much almost the same size, in fact, as a Peak Design tech pouch, and about the same depth, if not slightly less. So yeah, really neat little design, and yeah, really appreciated that with it. And Dan, sorry. Most clubs I visit don't have TVs, so taking the Splay and connecting to any device by HDMI is a breeze and takes little space in your gear bag. Indeed, it's really, really great. And indeed, Bill, backpack ready. That is the word. So, yeah, a really novel device. I'm going to do a sort of different tutorial style video on this, where it's a bit more efficient and flowing. But for the time being, though, I just did want to jump in and give you my sort of first impressions of what I think is, a really innovative device here. So the price is what it is, and yeah, that might mean it's not for you if it's not something you're going to be doing day in, day out. It's definitely something that's more for an intended purpose. If you're doing trade shows, if you're doing presentations or stuff where you have to be out on the road but need that monitor. Great for if you're doing a presentation from a stage and you want to have an actual thing in front of you to be able to see your show notes or things like that, your presentation notes or whatever. Also for client meetings. So talking about it in the Digital Stage Academy just yesterday, and there's one of the chats in there is on the road a lot. So something like this to be able to go in to meet clients and just show some high level information up on that screen rather than on the laptop is something that could certainly be another use case for it. So with that said, if there are any questions about the Splay at all, then I'll do my best to answer them. If you've got any questions and you're watching on the replay, you can always drop into the Discord community, into the to the group there. So takeonetech.io/family, and that's another place that you can go and get your questions answered. So if there are no other questions, then I will wrap it up there. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day. Thanks also to my channel members. I'll leave a link to some other related content over on the right-hand side. But in the meantime, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.